Hi everyone, I hope you had a really good Christmas. Today we're going to be talking about if it's time to go sell Tesla stock after it's been on such a really good run recently. Before I get stuck into the video guys, there is a Patreon's link down in the bottom. Any funds that go through that go to helping the channel grow with new lighting, microphones, cameras. It all stays in the channel guys, it just helps it improve the channel and quality that I can give you guys. But we'll get stuck onto Tesla today and if it's time to sell. Now obviously Tesla has had a fantastic year. It's just broken the $400 mark, and I think most of the investors that kind of like, well, I am, and I think a lot of people got in the same time as me. Most of us are up about 60% on our position right now. Some of us a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. It depends on what point you bought at, but I think most of us bought around below $250. So we're all doing pretty okay right now at the moment. And because of the big run up in such a short space of time, has Tesla stock gone a bit too overvalued now, and is it time to take some profits off the table? Maybe not sell all the position, or maybe just sell, a couple of shares and take some profit that we are currently sitting on. So I'm going to go through some points why I think it could be a good time to sell maybe part of your position in Tesla, and then I'll go through some points which kind of says why it's potentially not time to sell Tesla just yet. So when I look at Tesla, it's hard to find a valuation because there's no P just yet. But when we look at the forward P, it is at 90, which is kind of, even for a growth company like Tesla, 90 still stands out as being a little bit quite high right now. Obviously, the stock has gone up because of, off the back of the amazing quarter and then some positive news from there. There was a slight pullback because of the Cybertruck, but apart from that, it has gone up because it keeps pulling out some positive news out from the company. Because of that, Tesla is a very heavy shorted stock, and people that have shorted the stock are now trying to cover their losses by actually buying shares, and that kind of happens quite a bit on a short stock when a company brings out fantastic news like how Tesla has been doing. Now, one of the big things that I kind of looked at and why it kind of influenced me to make this video is when we look at the stock chart over like a 5-year period, we can see that Tesla, when it goes up 80% quite a bit, it does pull back quite heavy after an 80% gain. And it's kind of one of those things, it shoots up and then it does pull back a good 30-40%. So because of that, is it now time to go and sell some shares? Because historically, when we look at what happens with the stock when it's been on a run like this, it does tend to pull back from here, and then it can kind of create an opportunity to maybe go back into the stock at a cheaper price. And that's one of the big things that kind of I think about, is that when it does historically do this kind of thing, it does pull back, and then there's opportunities to buy at a cheaper place, because there's no doubt Tesla is still a fantastic company. No matter what price it's at, the growth and potential for Tesla is absolutely huge going forward. And the last point is that when we invest into companies, even though I think most of us that are in Tesla, we're always like, we enjoy being an investor in Tesla, it's a fun stock to invest in because it's quite a talked about stock, and it's also quite a cool company as well. Like, it's cool for you to say like, oh yeah, I own shares in Tesla. It is kind of a cool thing, but sometimes you've got to not get too emotionally attached with a company, and you've got to kind of think why you're investing in a company like Tesla. And the main reason is to make money on investing into stocks, and that's why we all do it. We all invest to make money, not to kind of like go, oh, I've got shares in Tesla. Even though it's cool to say it, the aim is for us to make money. And when we look at Tesla, on a lot of stocks, if we were up kind of like 60% in the space that we have been with Tesla, any other company, we'd probably be looking and going, I probably should sell this company and take some profit on the table, either sell the whole position or at least sell part of the position right now. So that's one thing I would consider with Tesla, and remembering the whole kind of the reason why you got into the company in the first place. Now, there's obviously a lot of positives with Tesla, and it is hard to kind of do all the positives in one video, but I've tried to pick up some of the main points. And I think the biggest point overall is the Model Y, which is going to be next year, and I think the Model Y will be fantastic. Maybe not as much as in the EU, because I think the Model 3 suits like the EU a little bit more. But for the US, I think the Model Y could be fantastic, and I think it could outsell the Model 3. So we've got the Model Y next year, which is obviously going to do really well in the US, I feel like. So that's going to be something massive going forward for Tesla next year. Obviously, we've got the China Gigafactory just opened up, and that's obviously going to make a big, massive impact on China. It seems like what's been coming out news-wise about the Gigafactory in China now has been quite positive. It seems to be all going quite well. The Cybertruck, we've got a Cybertruck coming probably towards the end of 2020, 2021. So that's another vehicle that we'll be offering, and it seems like it's done okay on the order so far. So we've got another vehicle coming out. I've put the Roadster and the semi-truck down. Obviously, I think the Roadster, isn't going to be a huge thing for the company, but it should still do okay for them. The semi-truck obviously is a game changer because we haven't got an electric truck just yet. So that's kind of a game changer in the industry. It'll be interesting to see how the industry adapts to electric trucks. I don't know if they'll take it on or if it'll get rejected. So that'd be interesting how that goes out, but they're probably two other big products or vehicles that are coming out next year as well. And another thing is the EU Gigafactory, which should be opening around about 2021, which will probably have the same impact as the China Gigafactory has just done, but in the EU, and they'll be able to produce and make a lot more cars in EU. And if any tariffs do get put on, obviously they can kind of get avoided being in the EU. So there is so many positives going on with Tesla right now, as you can see. There's a couple of negatives to think about as well, or not essentially negatives, but a few points to think about as an investor. And kind of my point of view is that we have had a good run in Tesla, and even though it's a great company to be in because there's going to be so much good news going forward, I think there's potential for some pullbacks right now in Tesla, which if you do sell shares, there might be a better time to invest at a cheaper price in a couple of months' time. And for me, my kind of view is that it's not a company that I would totally sell out of because it's a fantastic company and a fantastic growth company. But at the same time, we've got to remember that we're in the game to make money, and it might be a good idea just to take some profits off the table. And then if it does pull back, then some of them profits could go back into the company at a cheaper price. But for me, my kind of view right now is that maybe it's time to just release not, a huge percent, but maybe like, 20% of your position in Tesla. And that's kind of my feeling right now is that that's my kind of thought process right now. I'm probably going to have a think about it over the next few days. I'll be interested to know what you guys think because I don't think many people have talked about selling Tesla, but for me, it does make sense to, maybe sell about 20% of your position just to take some profits off the table right now at these prices. So that's me talking about Tesla today, guys, and if it's time to sell Tesla shares. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you could give it a like, subscribe if you haven't. I'll see you in the next video.